Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Anything Blows. My name's Aaron and today I'm proud to be joined again by Franklin Ignatius, former guest of the channel and one of the most recurring guests of the channel. Bit of a different way to spice things up and introduce him, professional heavyweight boxer as always, and hopefully soon there'll be some fight news. Let's see what happens. Let's see what goes on behind the works. But in terms of today, I have got him on to react to Misfits 009, the main event, Idris Virgo versus Aaron Chalmers. Sorry, my bad. Callum, I think brothers, obviously. And yeah,
Oh, good.
a place he's used to and familiar with, the Virtu Motors Arena. Just before you go on to the main event, I'll cover these and we can talk a little bit about it because you didn't catch up with a majority of it. But one bout I predicted was Little Belzy and AJ Bunker. Unfortunately, Little Belzy lost, but showed her heart, and yeah, she was hurt early on from the fight, and she done her best. And AJ Bunker, congrats to her. Next one I want to move on to fellow Niger boy OJ Rose knocking out Callum Izzard in the third round, and that was one of the coldest knockouts I've ever seen in influencer boxing so far. And it was just beautiful, pieced him up. Doesn't matter if you got 500k followers or you got 20k or 10k, which OJ does. OJ just proved the world, like, doesn't matter if you got designer clothes, if you got Gucci, if you're a reality TV star. When it comes to the boxing gym, that doesn't matter. And he knocked him out, and he knocked him out cold, and he played it perfectly. And as he had on his shorts, I believe Son of God. He had the Niger shorts, but he had Son of God, so Andre Ward, and just proved it stylistically. Now, moving on to this one, Ben Davis. Feel sorry for Ben, but Ben's a legend in taking this fight. He had no reason to be in there with Gabriel Silva, Anderson Silva's son, which knocked him out in the first round. And he even said, even if he loses in the first round, it's a win-win for him. So he's gained a lot of respect from it and a little bit of clout. And Anderson Silva's son, let's see what he does if he wants to continue the Misfits route. But did you might see any of that before you go on to the main event?
No, but I didn't get to see it. I just wanted to catch up on the main event. But I'm sure the Misfit cards, whenever you get a lot of egos and not much skill, there's a lot of entertainment to be had. So I don't doubt that Misfits fans got a lot of value for their money. And, like, they're entertaining guys, man. It's an entertaining setup. And it's good for boxing, like I said. So, man, I'm a fan of the franchise, for sure.
100%, and maybe, you know what, maybe one day it could be there, hopefully. But anyways, moving on. One thing I want to talk about is the main event, Idris Virgo versus Aaron Chalmers. And I believe it was, a technical knockout, 1 minute 48 in the third round, out of 5 rounds, light heavyweight contest. What did you make of that, and how did you evaluate Idris's performance? Because he did get a few highlight reels and a good Instagram picture.
He did indeed. The outcome was never in doubt in the sense that I knew Idris was going to win. I predicted that before. But he had more trouble than I thought he would. And the reason he had so much trouble is that, and I can't remember how his skill was before, but it seems to me he tries to fight with his left hand down and boxing with a side-on stance. But he's very upright. And his only defense seems to just be to duck to his right. Obviously, the right hand was always going to find him if that's how you're boxing. And he's relying on his feet to get out of trouble, which obviously cost him here and there. And Chalmers can punch. So Chalmers, he had a power to him, and he probably did better than a lot of people expected. I think he can hold his head high, even in the L. And Idris has to ask himself some questions. Because based on what I saw, you look very much like a guy that belongs in Misfits. You didn't look like a pro. You didn't look like someone who's going to go on from there to do big things in the game. And I remember at one point he was saying he's going to be the next Mayweather and this and that. Based on what I saw, I didn't see that. You got hit in the first round very early, and your first response was to have upright legs and be boxing. I mean, you think the right hand ain't going to find you a second time? I don't get it. So credit to him, he won anyways, and he got paid well. And like you said, a lot of highlight reels and followers, I'm sure. But you're not going to see that and think, he showed the skill set to now push on into real professional boxing. Do you know what I mean? I think Misfits is right where he belongs. And there's a lot of good, steady paychecks to pick up in that format. But if he wants to fight contenders in the pro side of things, it's going to give him a lot of trouble. But, it shows still that his best attribute is still there, the body breaker, right? Because he hurt Chalmers in there with a couple body shots. I believe body shots was one of the stoppages, I think. So, fair credit to him. And yeah, man, I think he'll do well. Both of them will, actually. I think Chalmers will do very well after what I saw. I think he can come back, and I can't see why he can't beat some more people.
And one thing I want to mention there's a few topics gone from there, but one main one, how do you evaluate Idris's power? Because he's fighting a real fighter in that sense. And how do you just evaluate that breakdown of the fight?
I would say he is a heavy puncher. I think that can't be denied. He definitely has the power to get anyone out of there. His combination punching ain't too bad either, actually. He puts shots well together. I just think his weaknesses more so are the fact he keeps his chin high and his legs very straight. And I think the more he moves up in talent, if he ever does, he might not. He might just stay with the influencer stuff. But if he ever moves up in talent, in terms of opposition, they'll expose that. Because someone who stands like that is always vulnerable to the right hand. The shot will come from the side of your head. Do you know what I mean? So he's always going to be vulnerable to that shot. And someone who can put the shots together off that shot will get him out of there. You get stunned, legs wobble, left hook, right hook, and that's all she wrote. It only takes 2-3 punches to land clean for you to be gone. So, yeah, he's vulnerable. Well, ironically, you know what? That makes for good TV. That's the weird part. A power puncher that's vulnerable. It makes for good fucking TV. You never know if he's going to get the other guy or the other guy will get him. So, you know, it makes for good TV, but it ain't good for his career.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But, yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. Because I think Chalmers has to be. So we'll see.
And as he said with Joe Joyce and Zhilei Zhang, where does a winner go from here? Idris, you do mention, does he stay in the Misfits route? And where does Aaron Chalmers go as well?
I can see him having a rebuilding fight against a couple other guys. Maybe a guy that's not a former pro, find another easy touch. You have the fan base for it. You put up a good fight in your last loss. And I can't see why you can't come back. Do you know what I mean? He could definitely come back if he still has the hunger for it. And I wish him all the best as well. Both men done themselves credit, I think. Chalmers more so, for sure.
And it was in Chalmers' hometown. Obviously, I want to ask you a question here, because this isn't your traditional boxing fight where you'll have majority of the same. I know it was in Newcastle, but I don't know how many fans would have been Chalmers fans, or because with Misfits, it's kind of like the UFC. You'll just have fans come for the promotion because they want to watch Misfits anyway, regardless who's fighting. How do you evaluate that? Because he's not really going into the lines then. He's going into the lines then in terms of physically, because it's away opposition, away opposition and away territory. But how do you evaluate that? And does it ever matter to you, for example, that if you're going somewhere to someone's backyard, is it going to play too much of a factor? Because I wouldn't say most of them were Aaron's fans, and some, because a ring's a ring at the end of the day. But does it play into factor too much or not really?
It depends. It plays a factor in my preparation, in a sense that in those type of fights where you're not gonna get any love, so to speak. You prepare harder, you run harder, you spell harder, and you're more focused. But in the fight itself, it doesn't play a difference because you're looking to beat the other guy. In the build up to it, in terms of press and stuff like that, I approach it the same way because the situation is still the case in the sense that the guy I'm fighting is trying to crush my dreams. He wants to send me back to the struggle I just came from. You know what I mean? So I didn't come this far to come this far. So my mindset will very much be get up in your face, fight, and prove the fact that you're not going to send me back to where I came from. I'm going to push on, step over you, and step forward. So that's my mindset, whether I'm in the weight corner or not. But I think I'm mentally strong enough that it doesn't really matter to me. Do you know what I mean? As long as I feel like I believe I'll get a fair shake, which I believe, with the way boxing is going nowadays, I believe, I probably will get a fair shake. But where possible, I will try to take it out of the judge's hands, obviously, and knock you out and prove it emphatically. But yeah, man, it's for me personally now. But Idris proved for him neither. Actually, he proved it as well. He went in there and done what he had to do because even if he was the A side, I would still expect Chalmers to have the fans closer to his side, closer to his fan base, and it's like when I traveled up from London to Newcastle, no one's gonna come up to you from Newcastle, from London. Not many, so it's too far up. It's almost like traveling to another country.
Of course, bro. It's
So ain't a
probably
lie.
easier to go to Amsterdam or Greece or Spain than it is to go to
Well,
Newcastle.
probably is. Okay, it probably is. So I don't think too many people from London will come up to see you. So yeah, but for Idris, it definitely was a journey for him. So he proved his mental resilience. So yeah, man. But I think both guys did work themselves well. Yeah, regardless of me criticizing Idris a bit, that's more so from a professional boxer perspective. But as a man, he did himself plenty credit.
And that's another thing. We'll come on to a few other predictions after. But do you think he stays a Misfits route, or do you think he goes back into the pro scene?
Definitely, Misfits. I didn't see nothing there to give me a hope of him. Nah, man, he stays Misfits 100%. Unless the situation dries up. Boxing being boxing, you never know tomorrow. But from what I saw, how would you move out? Where are you gonna go? You're just not. You're too defensively vulnerable from what I saw to take on the elites. You have the power, you have the combination punching, so you can therefore, have enough power to get into the English title or even British. You got the punching power, but your defense is too open, man. You are getting hurt by a guy that should not even touch you. I'm sorry, but it's true. Chalmers had no business even touching. I don't give a shit that he fought Mayweather. You know what I mean? Mayweather's fucking 4 weight classes below. Come on, man. I don't give a shit. You had no business getting touched by Chalmers. None. And the guy damn near hurt you in the first round. If you knew what he was doing, he might have got you out of there and then. So yeah, man. Based on what I saw, unless he improves on that side of things, any pro would deal with him, to be honest. Any good level pro.
And he can keep building his name, making money, and being a star in Misfits. Because respectfully, in the light heavyweight division right now, you got to go back to English level and British level, because the world level, even Boatsy, Aziz, Yard, Callum Smith.
Right. Jesus Christ. There you go. You look at the names you're mentioning. They will choke him. They will choke him. It is different. Because remember, we're talking about professional boxing. It is different. You are way too vulnerable to be in the ring anywhere near them type of guys. Anywhere near. I'm just keeping it a buck. You're too vulnerable. So fair play for you being in Misfits, and go grab your money. You're going to make more money in Misfits than you would as a pro anyway. So why even bother? So that's it. Win a Misfits belt if you want to win anything. Misfit champion. Be that.
And I want to ask you that, and I can ask you on future ones as well, but do you regard the Misfits title as a real boxing title, or no?
Of course. It's like a WWE belt. Congrats for winning it. But you basically won King of Entertainment Boxing. That's it. That's literally what you won. You won, I'm the King of Entertainment Boxing. Well done. That's it. Like, what? Am I supposed to put you in next to fight Usyk? Come on, man. But nah, it's a good belt to win. It's a franchise belt for that franchise. So if you win it, do your thing. You know what I mean? But nah, man, I'm not even putting you in the same breath as any professional champion. Fuck no.
Yeah, and for influencer boxing, which it is called, fair play to them. And the Tommy stuff we can get onto after. We can get onto it now, but also the KSI Tommy, will leave that for another day, which is coming up very, very soon. And I'll get you back on for that. Another thing I wanted to ask you now, we see Aaron fighting Mayweather, and it doesn't matter because he's 4 weight classes below, and Mayweather's still making them look like fools. Do you think Idris said he's a new Mayweather? He said, obviously, we're going to say what he said for the Instagram reels and the highlight reels and the quotes. But do you think Idris could ever put his name in there with Mayweather for an exhibition or not?
Nah, you don't make enough money, and you don't make enough of what do you call it? You don't have enough of a
big name
clout to do that anytime. No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Mayweather ain't going in there for less than M's. Simple. The man's here to grab money. He's doing these exhibitions for less than M's. And I can't see Idris generating that kind of money. I can't see it. Maybe in the future, but right now, no, not at all.
And another thing I wanted to ask you, a little bit of a cheeky question. Do you think Idris Virgo is the best boxer to come out of Love Island, or is it Tommy Fury, Jack Fincham, or a few of the other guys, or is it?
What question? Fucking hell. That's like basically saying if people come out of Big Brother. uh,
I think the
fucking
best
hell.
fighter to come out of Big Brother is probably Andrew Tate, but we'll leave that there.
I'm dead. Probably. Flipping hell. You know what? Fuck it. I'd probably say, you know what? Fuck it. I'd probably say Tommy Bloody Fury. Fuck it. I'd probably, because Tommy Fury has fought the better opposition than Jake Paul, has had the harder fight coming up in KSI, or has the harder fight coming up in KSI. And, you know, should have a bit of more experience than Idris, both amateur and pro. So now probably Tommy Fury. Just about, mind you, but probably Tommy Fury. Idris, though, I think, if he continues this influencer route, will catch up to Tommy Fury sooner rather than later. And that might be a fight we might actually end up seeing. Because, like I said, Idris will always make good TV because he's vulnerable. And you're kind of on the edge of your seat. You don't think he'll catch people or get caught. He's got the power, and if he takes hard fights, he will move up quickly. Same like what I'm doing with the pro boxing. By taking hard fights, you move up rankings fast because people, obviously, you get more ratings for winning them. And Idris has the ingredients to beat a lot of the influencers, for sure. If that fight ever happens, Idris versus KSI or Idris versus Tommy Fury or even Idris versus Jake Paul, I'd watch it. I'm not going to lie, I'd watch it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, fair play to both guys.
And we'll get on to Tommy and KSI on another day, not to give too much away. But I want to ask you there as well to conclude, if Idris faced Tommy Fury, Love Island star versus Love Island star, I don't know if they're on the same season. I've got to have to check that back. I think they might have been, actually, maybe season 9, season 7, whatever it was. They could have been on the same year, I believe so. But I'm not sure. But anyways, Tommy versus Idris, if that was ever to happen. So let's say, and we'll think about it on the other interview, but say Tommy bypasses KSI, who do you have winning that? Or even if he doesn't.
If Tommy was to fight Idris,
light heavyweight as well, make it 175, 180 pounds.
Yeah, we'll be light heavy, yeah. Tommy, probably. The back foot boxing, the movement, probably Tommy. I think he'll try to have Idris reaching. Idris is probably likely to get tagged with jabs. Based on what I saw in his last fight with Chalmers, his head movement ain't the greatest. I think the fight might not actually end up being that entertaining because both of them are very side on. And both of them are looking to box rather than brawl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ironically, both of them will probably fight better if they fought over opposition because boxers look better with brawlers. But if you got two boxers or two people trying to box, it does not tend to make good TV because the pace is very slow.
It turns into, sorry to stop you, it turns into Hrgovic and Dempsey McKean.
Thank you. And I think Tommy and Idris, it will probably turn out like that. Both of them are very side on, very happy to go backwards if they have to, and happy to kind of, dip and lean away from punches as opposed to go back the gumshoe and go in. They could if the opportunity presented itself, but I don't think they're likely to do that. So it might be a boring fight. But then again, it could go either way as well. Idris could get caught and think, fuck it, and go for the kill. You know what I mean? It could very well go either way. It just depends. But I think Tommy is a good fighter, and he might just have the edge on Idris. I think he might just have the edge.
And there's a million questions I could ask you when we do KSI and Tommy, but we'll save this for now, and we'll ask you them in the next interview when I have you on very shortly next week. But Franklin, as always, thank you, and it was a great show to watch. It was a great Misfits card, and I said it wasn't one of those Misfits cards where they asked for trouble at the press conference. It was actually very calm, apart from verbal stuff. It was very calm, and it was a great night. Like I said, you see a legend son on the card. You see professional boxer, and then you see a lot of entertainment, a lot of stars, which they are. And yeah, it was a great way for Idris to conclude the night, and it was a brutal knockout. As I see that big picture on Instagram, just looking over him with Chalmers with his hands down, brutal. So thank you as always for coming back on the channel, and we'll have you back on very, very soon. As always, where can fans find you on social media?
They can find me on Franklin Ignatius on Instagram and Twitter. You know, like, follow, and comment and message me. I'm always willing to chat. And yeah, man, I'll have fighting news for you very soon.